Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The first, let me introduce myself. My name is Waode Dian Meisa Permata. My student ID number 18920420224. Study program Accounting Education. I will present my idea of the article about the failure of international accounting standard convergence. The first of this article talk about introduction. There were problems in making investment and trading decisions when companies produce financial accounts using their own national regulation. Academics attempted to identify the factors that influence the nature of a country's accounting regulation. Although the academic efforts did not offer any specific guidance on how to achieve greater accounting internationalization and generate discussion and encourage regulators in several countries to consider solutions. The U.S. had a procedure for rigorous accounting regulation with the Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC, and the Financial Accounting Standard Board, or FASB. In 1973, national accountancy bodies from Australia, Canada, France, Germany, Mexico, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom, and Ireland, and the United States established the International Accounting Standard Committee, or IASC. In 1992, the three standard-setting bodies of Canada, the United Kingdom, and the United States met to discuss some of the accounting issues confronting them. G4+1 addressed several accounting transactions from a strong conceptual basis. In January 2001, it was agreed that G4+1 group would disband. The G4+1 group canceled its proposed future activities and submit its current work to the ISB as potential project. The ISB was established formally in April 2001. The next talk about the growth of internationalization. It was not until 1988, after the IASC had issued nearly 13 separate standards, that the FASB publicly announced its position in international accounting. The declaration by the FASB for greater international involvement was met with enthusiasm by the IASC. They regret the desired outcome was the worldwide use of single set of high-quality accounting standards for both domestic and cross-border financial reporting. They argued that the undeclared aim of the FASB was to ensure that U.S. accounting standards were recognized worldwide. One could question the declared involvement and role of the U.S., but undoubtedly, international accounting needed a boost. Although enthusiasm had been expressed in 1973 for accounting internationalization, progress was slow. Given this limited research, the achievement of the ISC was not worthy. In retrospect, it can be argued that it was interest shown by the U.S. that was driver of the change needed to rejuvenate to the share for internationalization. In 2002, the recently appointed chair of the ISB, David Waode, made clear his aim of spreading international accounting standard to the US 3D set out the ISB 2 main objective as follow: convergence and improvement project. The next about no work agreement. The appointment of hers to FASB broke with the commitment to convergence, which complement the objective the restrictor of the restrictor ISB. Under David 3D, it was intended that the final agreed standard would be international standard and the US would adopt them. The North World Agreement set out the following aims of the two boards and the priority action that they intended to take jointly for the immediate future. The problems faced by the two parties in following the convergence route chosen were probably underestimated. There was also the issue that seems to be overlooked, that is convergence involving change international standard meant that all those countries that had already adopted them would have to make changes to their accounting practices. Many of the pronouncements in support of the convergence project emphasized that the aim was to produce a high-quality standard. The SEC stated that high-quality standard must have consistency, comparability, and relevance and reliability. The next about the progress of convergence. Following the North World Agreement, the FASB and the IASB were successful and several short-term projects. In 2002, the North World Agreement was signed and announcement for the short-term project both would work on jointly. In 2006, the issue of the roadmap they shifted from the strategy of converging standard as this was proving too difficult and moved to strategy of developing new standard to replace the old ones. In 2008, the issue of another roadmap. The next about success and failures. When assessing the history of the relationship, one can identify success and failures. The following example illustrates that progress that was made in some difficult area that the problem that still exists. The first, stock option. There were demands from several quarters for stock option to be expanded, but there were political hurdles preventing this from taking place. In June of 1993, the FASB issued an exposure draft on stock option. The recommended the fair value approach. Option issued to employees will be recorded in the financial statement as compensation expense. The process of convergence brought about some change. Next, intangible assets. In screen sale, the most important asset for generating future benefits are intangible assets. The original regulation in the US allowed companies to use one of two methods when making acquisition, the pooling of interest of the purchase methods. The first methods combine to book value of assets and liabilities of the two companies to create a new balance sheet of combined companies as if it had always been one. The second approach, the purchase method, gave rise to goodwill, and the regulation at time required goodwill to be written off over 14 years. The next, accounting for leases. It has been argued that the efforts to bring about new leasing standards were undertaken more to keep the FASB and IASB relationship alive than for technical or conceptual reasons. In March 2009, in a discussion paper, leases preliminary views was published. The next, about the end of convergence. The convergence project had been fruitful, with strong sign on rapport between FASB and the ISB, but division of opinion will become evident as the technical of full standard convergence become more apparent. The message in the road maps and other documents that were issued become less buoyant. The limited advantage available suggests that companies in similar countries do not experience a significant on-adoption of IFRS, although the IASB has to satisfy range and opinions to be able to issue a standard. Unfortunately, the convergence project ended with whimper. In contrast, the commencement and the Northwold Agreement has been met with public acclaim. The divergence is not only possible but is taking place. The pressure to make amendments to standard because of the need converge over a road and fundamental change to standard. If the sole aim of the FASB was to introduce changes that were likely to meet opposition, convergence has been partly effective in achieving that goal. Although its importance is questioned by some, the principle versus rules conflict still exists. That ISB have made considerable concession, but agreement could not be reached on change to the conceptual framework. There is complete agreement that international standards should be high quality standard, but this term has not been defined. There are many examples of countries making decisions that reject move to different from internationalization. The last, about conclusion. The search for international accounting regulations started formally in 1973. The first standard-setting organization, the International Accounting Standard Committee, or IASC, issued many sound standards, some of which are still applicable today. In 2001, the formation of the International Accounting Standard Board, or IASB, led to a shift opinions. Despite the involvement, the U.S. at the early stage in attempt for international body, the U.S. gradually withdrew. Considerable progress had been made with the convergence project, but when one reviewed that deep state barriers, it is evident that complete convergence would be unattainable. That is my present about article The Failure of International Accounting Standard Convergence. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.